All right, Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Hawashai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the GMS. Blessings to you, brothers doing this work. Shalom to the elect, sincere brothers, sisters, and their children. All right. So I'm going to title this lesson somewhere around the lines of the power and solitude, okay? Or the power and the grind, because ultimately the grind is always solo. Whenever someone's usually on their grind, someone's on their purpose or their mission, if you will, it's usually solo. Whenever a man or a woman is always in a time where they're trying to get right, if brothers is in the gym, you know what I mean? It's the winter months, he get it right, you know what I mean? Bulking up, building muscle. He's focused, He's on his grind. That's usually a solo dolo thing, man. Or when a man's grinding at work, working 2 jobs, stacking up money, that's a solo thing, man. And there's power in that, because one of the things that we need to get comfortable with is being alone. All right. The body is beautiful, right? The body it serves its purpose, but you can't always rely on the body. You have to be self-sufficient in this walk. All right. Because at the end of the day, your salvation, which I'm getting ready to go into, is only determined upon yourself. Another brother can't carry you into the kingdom. All right. You can't ride another brother's coattail and expect to make it, on his sacrifice or on his grind. This is not like your homie, making it to the league and getting drafted to the Sixers, and you his boy, so he bring you along with him, or you're a rapper and he just bringing you with him. It's not like that, man. All right, this journey that we embark on is ultimately a lonely journey. We have brothers, in that, we that support each other. We have brothers that we could build with, but ultimately when it comes to salvation, that path is lone. It's lonely, because when you're not with the brothers and you're by yourself, you can't expect to only be holy and in the spirit when you're with the brothers. You have to be able to be self-sufficient. You have to be able to tap into the spirit, and to be confident when you're not with the brothers. All right. It's easier said than done, but it's a skill that we must acquire. And one of the ways to acquire that skill is to simply put yourself in positions to where you have to thrive alone. Whatever that looks like for you, that's like for you. But ultimately, just putting yourself in the spirit of being stronger, building a basis of confidence. I always say that, like, you have to build a self-esteem in this truth. If you were in the world and you had a low self-esteem, you had no sense of self-confidence, you need to work on that. All right. And you can't expect to only get that confident spirit by by doing things in the spirit. Like, you have to apply your spirit to your body. All right. And whatever that looks like for you, looks like for you. But generally, every brother in this truth should be exercising. Every brother in his truth should have a good diet, high in protein, high in natural healthy fats, high in vitamins and minerals. You know what I mean? Eat your fruits, your veggies, take your supplements, because you're not going to get enough from the food. But take your multivitamin and mineral complex supplements. Get good sleep, quality sleep. Wake up early. I'm not saying you got to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m., but, waking up 6, 7 a.m., waking up early. Waking up at 7 a.m. is solid. I think waking up at 7 a.m. is a generally solid time to wake up. It's just about when the sun rises, typically all time around the year, and it's not late, but it's not super early either. All right, you can go to sleep at 11 o'clock and get 8 hours of sleep if you wake up at 7. So, not to ramble too much, but building confidence, man. And you build that confidence and by working on yourself. And by working on yourself, you have to do that in solitude. You have to do that alone. So you have to get comfortable with yourself and building up and holding yourself accountable. All right. And it's first and foremost in the spirit, and second in your own flesh, because everything that happens in the flesh, it manifests in the spirit first, or it starts in the spirit and then it manifests into the flesh. All right. Every action that you take starts with a thought, and that thought comes from your spirit. So don't ever get it mixed up that, yes, the flesh and the spirit are contrary to one another when it comes to doing the right things ultimately. Because when you have when your mind is telling you yes, but your body is telling you no, you know what I mean? Not to quote R. Kelly, but to put it in what he said in reverse. Your mind is telling you yes, you want to do this, you should do this, but your body's telling you no. Your body's saying, no, I want to eat the cookie. I want to eat the cake. I don't want to work out. I'm tired. But your mind like, yo, man, I really want to accomplish these goals, man. I'm really trying to build this muscle. I'm really trying to lose this fat. You know what I mean? You have to learn the power in listening to your mind and not your body. Because ultimately, it is your mind who is the commanding, or your spirit who is the commanding officer, or the command center of the body. All right. But now let's get into the scripture a little bit, and we'll go from there. All right. So this is 2 Ezra 7:6. There's also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. All right. That city going into ultimately the kingdom of heaven, man. New Jerusalem coming down here on earth for the inheritance of Yahweh Shai, and then the elect being joint heirs, also having an inheritance in the kingdom of heaven. Getting the blessings that Yahweh Shai shall receive. Okay. It says the entrance thereof is narrow and set in a dangerous place to fall. Right. What's that dangerous place to fall? Ultimately, America, Babylon the Great, right? Because there's a lot of wickedness and temptation that is here in this land. But generally, it's the entire world, man. And the media and the philosophies and the influences that the world and Satan has put in play to have our people subject unto their wickedness, and following after their philosophies and their ways, and celebrating their holidays, and wanting to be sodomites, and wanting to be transformers, and all these different abominations. All right, eating shrimp, crab, pork, lobster, and making it a delicacy, and esteeming it high above all, and putting the woman on top, and embracing feminism. That's not femininity, Salakia. We always embrace femininity, but embracing feminism and the woman being in power and in charge. No, all right. That's America. That's ultimately the culture that the whole world has spread in general. All right. That's that dangerous place to fall, because it's very tempting. There's so many temptations at every single corner, and also it's dangerous too. It's a lot of crime, violence. All right. It's financially detrimental. The economy and the way it's ran, and the bill system, and it's insane. All right. So it says, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water. Right. And it's very narrow. So you got a fire on your right and water on your left. And it's a narrow path. You have no choice but to either go forward or back. There is no right, left, going around. So any obstacles that you encounter, you have two choices. You have the choice of going through the obstacle, whether that's through it or over it, whatever, going through the obstacle, or turning back, man. But you don't want to turn back, because ultimately that there's a death angel that's following you. And if you turn back, that death angel has the authority now to take hold of you, But if you continue to go down this path, it leads to life. And there's going to be that new body, if you will, on the other side, man. Which when you receive that body, you receive everything else that comes with it. All right, because flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. Verse 8, it says, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once, right? And this correlates with the scripture, and I can't remember exactly what book it is. I can look it up, but it says, strive ye for the straight gate, right? It says, "For broad is the path, for broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and narrow is the path that leadeth to life." Roughly paraphrasing. All right. So many people are going to go down that path of destruction because it's an easy road. All right. It's very broad, very wide. There's so many different ways you can go. If there's an obstacle, you can go this way and try something else and do this and do that. Very broad, man. So many people go that way because it's easy. All right. It doesn't require change. All right. There's so many different things to do and get involved in, which is ultimately death. But then that narrow path leads to life, but it's a very dangerous path, man. It's a very difficult path, but it's a path that's very rewarding, and it builds you up as you go through this path. All right. And you have to go through this path alone. You can have the encouragement and the support of brothers, but ultimately it's on you to do what you do to receive that inheritance. All right. To receive that blessing. All right. Because you can go to camp with the brothers and you can be online and bringing out precepts and prophesying. But ultimately, what you do off camera is really what's going to get you delivered, man. Pursuing the 1 Corinthians 13. All right. Who you are outside of you doing this work is ultimately plays the most part in your deliverance. If you opted to, or I'm not gonna say opted, but if you brought yourself up to be a teacher and to do the work, right? Then there's a lot more required of you. Now you're, instead of that faith portion of just your works in terms of your everyday life and routine and not celebrating, keeping the law to the best of your ability, having faith in Yahweh Shai, and ultimately taking your spirit out of this world. Now that you've called yourself to be a teacher, to do this work, to go on the line, now you have that extra portion of you, that sacrifice of now committing yourself to the body, committing yourself to the ministry, committing yourself to the sheep. All right. So now if you turn back from that, it's not looking good. All right. You were better off just being a believer and never doing this work. Now it says, verse 9. I just wanted to see where I wanted to read to. This is the last one I'm going to get. It says, "If this city now were given into a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?" So how do you expect to receive all the blessings and glory of the world, right? All the things that come with that new body and the more immortality and being incorruptible. Because you got to understand, even being immortal, at least the way the movies in this world predicts it, like you can still die, but you just have to be, you can be killed, but you can't die. But the Lord, the Most High's take on immortality is the true take on it. All right. Incorruptible, immortal. You're not mortal. You're not subject to death. So you cannot die. All right. All the things that come with this flesh, with this terrestrial body, are not going to exist when we get that celestial body. All right. We're going to be made of pure energy. All right. This is what I believe, speaking as a man, but it makes the most sense. We're going to be made of pure energy. We're going to have a fleshly body, right? We're going to have a physical body, but it's going to be made of celestial energy. And then within that body, it's just going to be energy, our spirit, man. We're not going to have internal organs. What do we need a lungs for? What do we need to breathe for? What do we need a heart for? You know what I mean? What do we need? You know what I mean? Well, if anything, we'll just be made of pure energy, muscle, whatever you want to think about it in a celestial manner. All right. So the concept of eating is going to be for pleasure. And when you eat, the food's just going to convert into pure energy. All right. You're not going to need to digest your food, break down it, shit it out. None of that, man. No more peeing. None of that. Puking. No feeling tired. No sense of emotion other than pure euphoria, man. All right. Now, if we want to feel emotions, we can feel emotions, but there's going to be no need for sadness or sorrow in the kingdom of heaven. All right. And I believe the scriptures even say that there should be no more sorrow or sadness. All right. No crying. All right. Those emotions are going to be void unto us. We're just going to feel euphoria, all right? And everything that embodies the word, all right? Joy, happiness, pleasure, you know? Hey, if we feel anger, we feel anger, but it's not going to affect us negatively, all right? So let's jump over to Ecclesiastes 30 and 23. Love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. Right. So there's no profit in sorrow. All right. I know sometimes, brothers, when you get alone, you start to feel sorrow. And the only time you really feel joy or excitement is when you're around other brothers. But that's not a good spirit to be in. You should have comfort and you should have confidence and joy in your own presence, all right? Because ultimately when you're in your own presence, man, that's when you can truly be with the Lord, you know? That you have to build that sense of security in your own self, man. You know? I myself, I used to feel sorrow in being alone. Even though I've naturally always been a loner where I've always enjoyed my alone time, but enjoying my alone time wasn't always for the positive reasons. Just because I used to be insecure as a young teenager, man, being overweight. You know what I mean? That played a big part of it. Never, not living up to my potential, being lazy. All these different things played into my insecurity or my lack of confidence. That I wanted to be alone, not because I enjoyed being by myself, but because I didn't want to be around other people and be in other people's light. All right. But then as you get older, you start to learn yourself, you start to develop yourself, you start getting into the gym, you start developing your own sense of personality, you start to accept your own personality. That's another thing. Accept your personality. If you're not a bubbly person, you shouldn't feel like you have to be a bubbly person. No, you can be the best laid back person that you are and learn how to master that, you know, and how to make that positive to the world. All right. When you learn to be the best version of yourself and your own mind and your own man, people are naturally going to feed off of your energy and not your personality. All right. Because those are two different things. Your personality and your energy are two different things. You can have someone who's super bubbly, but their energy is negative, they're mean, they're wicked, they have ill intent. But then you can have someone who's super laid back, right? Super laid back, but their energy is pure. All right. They're all about being genuine, authentic, sincerity. So when they speak, the words that they speak, they're heavy, all right, and they hold a lot of weight. They hold a lot of purity in their words, all right, and people can sense and feel that, man. All right, and it says sorrow have killed many, man. Right, going into a lot of different things, man. And it could be actual literal killed, like suicide, and cause them to do things that was there that caused the death of them. But even just talking about it has killed many spirits, man. Killed many minds, has turned men to just give up, man, and become bums, man, crackheads, homeless, all these different things, man. You gotta understand we're Yasha Allah, so you have to embrace yourself, man. Get in the gym, develop a sense of style for yourself, man. Develop a sense of security in who you are, and be the best version of yourself, man. Because ultimately, why? It's not Yahweh and Yahweh Shai great men. So why can't we be great men? Even here, the kingdom of heaven starts from within. All right, you gotta embody that spirit, and before you even receive the kingdom. Because imagine you feeling like acting like a bum and living like a bum, and then you just waiting for the Lord to lift you up. No, you should be working and grinding and striving to be the best version of yourself, being healthy and being fit. All right, being intelligent. Seeking wisdom and learning how to be more decisive in your speech, learning how to be more elusive, and how to be more, you know, wise in your actions. All right. These are the things that we all strive to do. These are the things that I'm striving for. I'm learning to increase my vocabulary and learn to be more decisive in my speech. You know, so these are the things that I implore you, brothers, as well. All right. So this is a Sirach 38:24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall be wise, man. Just, hey, really, having little business doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a bum. That doesn't mean work a part-time job. No. That doesn't mean work a beard, don't work at all. No. That just means you have to be disciplined and organized, all right? Don't overwork yourself, all right? Don't overdo this world and not give enough to the Lord. No, learn how to be smart with your time, right? Learn how to work smart and not hard, all right? If you working hard should mean you work hard with your mind and being disciplined rather than not physically working hard, all right? That's how you should think about working hard. When you think about like I work hard, not like I work 14, 15 hours a day, don't get sleep. No. You put a lot of effort and thought and intent into the things that you do, and you try to maximize the amount of work that you can do in a matter of 6 to 8 hours, a normal time frame in a day. And then you make sure that you sit that time, allot that time to where you can dedicate to growing and learning for yourself and for the Lord, the Spirit. And then I'm going to end off right over here. This is Sirach 33. And let's see. 27. It says, hold on. Mm, verse 27. And apply this to yourself. It says, send him to labor that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil. All right. And that's the point. Idleness teaches much evil. All right. You know what they say. The idle mind is the devil's playground. All right. That's why I brought this scripture out to counteract with the or to complement the scripture I just brought out, where it says a man that have little business is much wisdom, right? That's why I said it doesn't mean for you to be work a part-time job, or for you not to work at all, or to have not much work going on, or to just always be in a sense where you don't have nothing going on. No, you want to stay active, okay? You don't want to be idle. You want to labor. And whether that labor is in the spirit or in the flesh, you want to always be laboring, all right? From the moment you wake up in the morning, most of your day should be spent being productive, whether that's wake up at 7, you don't have to be working till 10. That's why it's important to wake up early. Personally, unless you have to work super early, unless you have to work before 9 o'clock. If you have to work before 9, then I understand. But if you have to work a normal schedule, like 9, anytime after 9 in the morning, then you should be waking up. And I'm speaking to myself first. You should be waking up at least 2 hours before you have to work, because this gives you time to dedicate towards yourself before you start the day. Because the last thing you do, and I know this personally, when I wake up and I know I have time to wake up before I go to work, those days when I wake up and I got to work at 10 o'clock and I don't wake up until like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I got to literally wake up to get ready to go to work, I automatically start my day giving to someone else, man. Unless you work for yourself and it's your own business, all right. But generally, most of us don't. And even then, you're still getting up to work. All right. You should be getting up and doing for yourself first. And when I say doing for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. And of course, giving unto the Lord is ultimately giving unto yourself. All right. Sacrificing unto the Lord, reading scriptures, watching the lesson, or doing a lesson. Those are things that you're doing first and foremost for the Lord, and secondary is for the benefit of yourself. All right. So that's pretty much the point. Lord willing, you brothers will edify it, and you few sisters out there, take from this what you can, and spread the spirit, spread the message. So on.